Am I the antagonist for asking my wife to work after I told her she didn't have to 16 years ago? We got married in '06. We had 3 kids in 3 years following, and I stated to her that she can raise the kids while I work. Now the kids are 10, 14, and 15 and in school from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. daily, so I asked her to get a part-time job to assist with a couple of our bills. She went off on me stating I lied when I said she can be a stay-at-home mom when we got married and her family and mine are agreeing with her. But I said it's getting to be a mental strain on me financially since I've taken 2 pay cuts at work and don't have the luxury of looking for new employment. I even started doing food deliveries on the weekends just to keep 2 older kids in sports programs, and when my youngest asked to do gymnastics and I saw the cost, I said I can't without sacrificing other required bills. And now she says if I can't afford a family, why did I get married? I'm just at a loss on what to do. I work from home and even offered my wife a job with me part-time while kids are in school just to answer a few of my calls and transfer them appropriately to the departments they need. My family stated I told her she doesn't have to work, but our needs have changed since the kids require so much more money now than they did when they were younger, and now my wife hasn't spoken to me in 2 weeks and both sides of the family agree with her. NTA. Times change, inflation is high, money is tight. And it's not like your pay is entirely within your control. It would be one thing if you were like, yeah, I don't feel like working anymore and expected your wife to take on a full-time job to pay for everything, but that's not what's happening. You're doing what you can, and you're asking her for help. I'm pretty sure that's how it's supposed to work. NTA. If the kids were still super young, I can see why your wife would balk. But if the youngest is 10 and the financials aren't great, a part-time job at least can ease the financial strain. NTA. The kids are old and out of the house most of the time. Why does she need to not work? Sounds like she got used to not working and now doesn't want to. If she continues to refuse, I say stop working so hard. Just provide the basics and give her a very tight budget to run the household. Now the kids are grown up, I think it is fine to ask her to go back to work. Times have changed and circumstances have too. She may be nervous about returning to the workforce after such a long time, and you're offering a nice easy job from home was a good idea. You are nearly working 2 jobs to keep your kids doing what they love. Surely she can sacrifice a little bit to help out too. Am I the antagonist for being pissed that my dad brung his husband on our family trip? My 15 female dad, 54 male, is married to Jacob, 50 male, and to be honest, I don't like Jacob as he just annoys me. I don't know if they intentionally do what they do or if they don't even realize they're doing it, but either way it pisses me off, which is why I dislike Jacob very much. I can never get alone time with just my mom and my dad without Jacob being there. And I've specifically said all the time that I just want my dad and mom there, but it doesn't even matter to them because Jacob turns up either way. And yes, I've communicated with them about this, but it's like they don't even listen. Anyway, yesterday was supposed to be only me, my mom, and my dad going to an amusement park, but also my half-sister, 3 female, my mom's daughter. I told my dad and Jacob that I didn't want Jacob there, but guess what, he turned up anyway. Also, this event was for me, and it wasn't an event that was for the whole family, it was for me. And I wanted my sister, my mom, and my dad to be there only. I was pissed when Jacob turned up, so instead of letting it go like I normally do, I lashed out at my dad and Jacob for Jacob being there. I told my dad that Jacob didn't always need to come along and that he needed to stop bringing Jacob to my events that I specifically said I didn't want him to attend. My dad was poised and Jacob started crying, which only made me more mad. Jacob is a grown man and I talked to him about this as well, so it's not like he was just clueless to the whole thing. So I didn't understand why he was crying, and maybe I was a bit harsh when I lashed out, but that because I've been gentle with this many times, and I was just done with being gentle with them, so I lashed out. Now to mention my mom is the one paying for all this, so she was also pissed that Jacob turned up when he wasn't supposed to be there. I never see my dad without Jacob being there, and it just gets so tiring when you can't even talk to your dad alone with his husband/wife being there. My mom and family are completely on my side, but my dad and Jacob are pissed at me. So am I the antagonist? NTA, if your dad and mom are cool being together on a trip, then they should honor that you just want time with them. Jacob should understand that. You've been very mature by trying to calmly explain it to them, and they've ignored that. Not to mention that him imposing on a trip your mom was paying for is very inappropriate. Edit, OP, the fact that you say in your comments that Jacob won't let you be alone with your dad even in his own home is troubling. You're not asking for anything unreasonable here. Both your dad and Jacob are hearing your needs and choosing to ignore them. They are at fault. They may be trying to force you to like him by having him tag along, but it's just making you resent him more. You need space. NTA. Your dad's spouse doesn't have to be around all the time. It's okay to want to do things without your stepdad. Sorry, OP. NTA. This was probably already said, and I missed it, but it is a real possibility you're going to have to tell your dad that if he cannot respect a sincere request from you, that maybe dad should just accept that he won't have visits with / from you. But you will need to be ready for any possible outcome that ultimatum could bring. You are entitled to alone time with your parents. This is a little weird because people are focused on the fact that you wanted your bio parents there, so it looks like you want them to get back together, but from everything I've seen, your freakout is not about that. It's about getting some one-on-one time with your dad. Am I the antagonist for calling my BF's family disgusting? I've been dating my BF for a year, and recently his sister wants a divorce from her husband because he's been cheating on her multiple times. He's not even trying to hide it. He brings women to places close to his house, and her friends have seen and taken photos of them. He's been doing it for years, and she's been shamed for it for not providing him with a reason to stop cheating. What's crazy is her family are trying to convince her to stay with him. She has 2 kids, and they are trying to convince her by saying she needs him to provide for her and the kids, and he just made a mistake, and they'll talk to him, so he won't do it again. I'm shocked anyone could justify what he did and want their own daughter / sister / family member to stay with that SOB. I've complained to my BF about his family's insane behavior, and he defended them, saying it just cultural. Apparently in his culture, man cheating is seen as normal and not a big deal, but women cheating is shameful and a big deal, which is so messed up I don't know what to say. He said his sister would have a hard time marrying in her community again, especially since she has kids, and she has never had a job, so she can't go anywhere, and her children won't have a good life because they are children of a divorced mother. I literally told his family is disgusting, and his culture is disgusting, and he got mad and defended them by saying it was cultural, and I have no business judging them because I'm an outsider. I've sent a text to his sister telling her not to tell anyone, but she and her kids can come to my apartment and stay if she has nowhere else to go. But am I the antagonist for judging his family and getting involved? NTA, but I would rethink the relationship. If he is blaming his culture and defending those actions, who knows what kind of BF he'll be in the future, or husband. NTA, but your boyfriend will cheat if he has not already. You do realize that your boyfriend is totally okay with cheating on you, right? NTA. But I doubt the apple falls too far from the tree if your boyfriend is okay with this cheating and treatment of his sister. You need to get out of this relationship. Your boyfriend obviously has no problem cheating on you and is blatantly sexist. There are so many red flags from him and his family. You need to leave him and move on with your life. Am I the antagonist for keeping the engagement ring and giving up asking to propose after propose in front of my parents and in-laws? My 25 female girlfriend, Molly, 26 female, for the last 6 months started with a joke that I've already made clear that I don't like. It consists of her saying no quickly to anything I ask. I know it sounds silly, but I ask her to get a glass of water for me. She says no, and after 1 minute, I'm almost getting up. She says she's joking and gets some water. I ask her to wash the dishes. She says no. I say I love you, she says no. I ask her to take her clothes, she says no. Everything is joking, and after 30s/1 mail-in, she does it, but she is addicted to doing it. I've already made it clear several times that I don't like it, even more so when I love you. She's the only person I can say that, so it's special to me. And there are things that are serious, and I need her to answer seriously. And if she says no to everything jokingly, I can't tell when she's saying a real no. It's already happened. I keep saying this is boring and I don't like it. She stops doing it and goes back to doing it after a week. After a brief discussion because she played this prank in front of our friends, me asking love, can you get me some medicine? And she, with no kidding, she stopped doing it for 1 month. Yesterday, we welcomed my parents, in-laws, and our 2 best friends to our house. Everyone knew that I was going to propose to her, and I called them, because we always planned this proposal with our loved ones attending, participating in this special day. I asked her to marry me, and she said a quick no, and I was so grumpy/panic/upset, everyone looking in shock, for 30s for her to laugh and say she was joking, finally saying yes. I was so embarrassed and disappointed. I put the ring box back in and said I'd take it out to cool off. I didn't even let her say anything. She kept texting me, no answering calls, saying it was just a joke and that I knew she always did that. She said that I left in difficult situation in the house because it was very clear that I had given up on propose and did in front of my parents and in-laws. She stressed that I was making the situation uncomfortable because of a silly joke. Well, I slept in a hotel and I'm still in it. My parents supported me, but my in-laws calling me for giving up on proposing, disproportionately humiliating their daughter. I just really think there's time for jokes, and that moment wasn't clearly. She knew I didn't like it and decided to do it anyway. Am I the antagonist? NTA. Out of all the things that are wrong from her side, one that stands out to me the most is that afterward she still puts the blame on you and does not even apologize. If you see that your partner is hurt by something you did, yes, even a joke, any well-adjusted human being would apologize. Also, if other people are not laughing, I wouldn't even call it a joke. And you are correct to think that there is time and place for jokes. I can imagine how hurtful and embarrassing it was to hear the no to your proposal in front of your family. Such a dick move. Edit, thanks for the awards, kind strangers. NTA. And this is coming from a family who does it a lot. Me and my siblings love to be like, can you grab me a drink when you go past? With a quick nope only to do it anyway with all the variations. The sibling or our mom, who loves to do this with us as well, usually just say, oh, okay. 'Cause we know the joke. Here's the thing, we don't do the joke with our dad. While the rest of us finds it funny, he is quick to feel upset and not understand when our no is joking like you do, so we don't do it. We don't do it because we love and respect him and know it can be quickly upsetting to him, and he loves other pranks/jokes with us, so we just find other things to share the fun in with him. I would also like to add we never do it in serious situations or things that need an actual answer or conversation. There are times and places for these things which she is not understanding. This is not about you taking it too seriously or anything else. If she truly loved and respected you, she would stop. It's simple to remember and do as someone who has almost their entire immediate family doing it on a daily basis, who also remember and don't do it for one of them out of love and respect. I have to stress that because that is the huge issue here, and she needs to work on what she is willing to compromise on if she ever wants to have a life with you with both of you happy. I wish you the best, and I hope she either wakes up and realizes she is completely in the wrong here, or you find someone who is willing to do that for you. NTA, you are right, and keep your boundary here. NTA, your girlfriend just learned a much-needed lesson on why you don't joke and say no when you mean yes. And you are not making the situation uncomfortable because of a silly joke, SHE is. She knew you don't like it, and honestly, who would? That would annoy the fuck out of most people, but she did it anyway. What next? Is she going to jokingly say no during your ceremony? I am sorry this happened to you, and I don't think you're overreacting. A joke is a joke only if all involved people are laughing and you made it clear months ago that you didn't find it funny. The first question one should always ask is why this particular joke, especially if someone claims they cannot stop it. So maybe your girlfriend, not fiancé, should take a look at herself and ask herself that question, especially if she couldn't even manage it in a more serious and emotional situation. I would hold off on proposing until you both get that cleared up. Am I the antagonist for not telling my husband he smells sooner and ruining a friend's wedding? This week was the wedding of two of my husband's, 33 male, and my, 31 female, longtime friends. For some background, recently we've been having some issues. I told him I needed some space, so we agreed he should move back in with his mom temporarily. I wasn't thrilled about this because she tends to baby him, though I had to accept it as he had nowhere else to go, and I wanted him out of the house. Furthermore, I wondered what to do about the wedding. We talked and decided it would be best for us to go together and for him to move back home afterwards. He didn't have time before the wedding to pack up his things, and so got ready at his mom's while I got ready at home, and we planned to meet there. When he arrived, I was already chatting with friends. He came over to us, and immediately I noticed this rotten stench on him. He smelled like he'd been dumpster diving. It made my eyes water a little. I noticed our friends noticing, but he was completely oblivious and kept on chatting. I tried to let him know discreetly, but he was not getting the hint at all. We took our seats in the chapel and the service was beautiful. By this point my nose had pretty much tuned out the smell, but it was clearly affecting other people and I still hadn't had a chance to let him know. After the service I saw an old girlfriend I hadn't seen in years and wanted to catch up. Apparently, while I was chatting with her, a friend had pulled hubby aside and basically told him he stunk. He got upset and demanded we leave immediately. In the car we argued, and he told me I was a horrible wife to let him embarrass himself like that in front of friends, and I was probably laughing behind his back. He said that I knew he could be forgetful, and since he was my responsibility as his wife, I should have called him up at his mom's to remind him to shower. Usually he'll come in when I'm in. I was speechless and said nothing the entire car ride home while he berated me. This morning I checked my phone, and we have both been removed from a number of group chats that included friends that went to the wedding. I heard through some friends that the bride feels we ruined her day. More people were talking about my husband than we thought, and she no longer wants to speak with us. I'm shocked and really hurt by this and have been feeling guilty all day. Furthermore, I didn't want to embarrass him by letting him know when other people were around, but now I've cost him friends and feel like I handled it all horribly. So am I the antagonist? NTA, but your husband is. In the car we argued and he told me I was a horrible wife to let him embarrass himself like that in front of friends, and I was probably laughing behind his back. He said that I knew he could be forgetful, and since he was my responsibility as his wife, I should have called him up at his mom's to remind him to shower. Usually he'll come in when I'm in. I was speechless and said nothing the entire car ride home while he berated me. You want to stay married to this excusive man? Seriously? No one, and I mean literally no one, should have to tell their spouse to shower. Being forgetful is no excuse for poor hygiene. Does he not have a nose? Is he incapable of smelling or even feeling the filth on his body? The fact that he berates you and puts this entire situation on you would be enough for me to make the separation official. This is appalling behavior. I've seen in this sub, my husband got mad at me for forgetting to wake him up. My husband got mad at me for making him the wrong food. My husband got mad at me for blah. But I've never seen my husband got mad at me for not telling him to shower. This is a historical day for men's incompetence in hygiene. NTA, how old is your husband? 5. If he doesn't shower, it's on him. Honestly, I'm not surprised you need some space. But what you really need is a divorce. You want to stay married to this excusive man? Seriously? No one, and I mean literally no one, should have to tell their spouse to shower. Being forgetful is no excuse for poor hygiene. Does he not have a nose? Is he incapable of smelling or even feeling the filth on his body? The fact that he berates you and puts this entire situation on you would be enough for me to make the separation official. This is appalling behavior. Am I the antagonist for writing up an employee who catfished me? I'm a manager in a work environment that's rather casual, where employees get close and spend a lot of time together outside of work. I'm a little traditional when it comes to employer/employee relationships, so while I do participate in some activities to build morale and camaraderie, i.e., happy hours after work, attend weddings if invited, etc., I do not participate in social activities where things might get out of hand, i.e., going to concerts, clubbing, just going to someone's house to hang out, etc. This is a personal policy that I also extend to social media, where I keep my profiles private and do not add or accept employees on all platforms. I just like to keep things private and don't want them to see where I spend my time, who I'm dating, etc. Recently, a new hire asked me for my account, and I kindly let her know that I like to keep things private. I thought that was it, but she went ahead and made a fake account to follow me, going as far as to post fake photos and write a fake bio to look like we went to college together. I found out because after I accepted her, she took screenshots of my photos and shared them to other colleagues. Thankfully, there wasn't anything off base on my accounts, but she did share photos of a new boyfriend I haven't introduced yet, as well as photos of a new designer bag I purchased, and jokingly asked everyone if he was my sugar daddy. It was a huge breach of my privacy. Her comments also embarrassed me, and I ended up writing her up, which is a semi-serious offense at our workplace that can lead to termination. Since then, it's caused a huge drama at work, with some employees thinking I can't take a joke and that I was taking things too far, while others came out to support me. I hate that it split up the team. Upper management supports my decision, but some employees have mentioned that I could have just verbally warned her first and that it was my own fault for falling for her catfish. Am I the antagonist? NTA. That employee showed horrible professional judgment as well as engaged in behavior that could be considered harassment. It calls into question her ability to follow directions or even to understand basic professional norms. As for those complaining that you didn't give her a verbal warning, you did. She asked for information about you, and you politely warned her that was crossing a line. She then decided to not only disregard your warning, but to do it in a way where she didn't think she'd get caught. That's premeditation, and no longer deserves the benefit of the doubt. For any staff members who are confused about this, I would suggest a refresher course on sexual harassment. While her behavior may not have been sexually based, it violated a basic tenet of sexual harassment, namely that continuing to pursue someone after they've said no is wildly inappropriate. If your staff don't understand that, you have a bigger problem on your hands. NTA. New hire? She hasn't built up enough cred to be able to joke with you like that, and frankly, that's not even a joke, it's weird insubordination and harassment. Fire them. NTA, that is a gross violation. She pretty much took the worry most of the general populace have and made it a reality. The blatant victim blaming by your employees also needs to be addressed, preferably in a seminar where they take harassment training. Keep an eye on those employees, because it sounds like worst case scenario they would do something similar to a joke. That is such a strange thing to do for anything, let alone someone you barely know and is still new to the company. Get HR involved and make sure this is dealt with, so she doesn't do it to others either. This is harassment and has no place in the workplace.